said, just make sure you adjust it.
Yeah. Okay, we're just going to start now. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Brothers, sisters, ladies, gentlemen, friends, everyone that is watching on the live stream. Assalamu alaikum, which is the Muslim greeting of peace, which means peace be upon you. Thank you all for coming here today. I'd like to welcome you here and to everyone that is watching online. I also wanted to thank the people in the mosque that made it happen. So this mosque, for those of you that haven't been here before, this mosque used to be a cinema hall, and the community bought it like some 25 years ago, and they converted it, and now there's a secondary school here, there's a youth club, they have martial arts in here, and the management committee in the last couple of years, they've got some young blood into this mosque committee. So this type of event that we're having here would not have happened about 10 years ago. So it's good that we're trying to make some changes at the same time. So a couple of housekeeping things before we begin. We've got the fire exits on both sides. So there will be a recording of this event on YouTube. So we are live streaming it on the Babar Mosque YouTube channel. And there will be a recording of it that is also there. So you're welcome to use your phones to record if you like something, but maybe sometimes it's better just to switch off and just to listen. And anything you like, you can always go back to the recording and listen afterwards. How has this event happened? So it's a long story. I won't bore you with the details, but once a year I go to King's College London, where I'm invited by the course tutors for the MSc War and Psychiatry course. So and Professor Edgar Jones is sitting over there. He's the course leader. He's the one who invites me, and there's a lot of students. There's about 15 of you, I think, that have come to support Dr. Anam. So this year when I went, then Professor Jones, he said to me that we have to be on the ground floor because we have a student who is in a wheelchair from Pakistan. And so I went and gave my lecture, and this young lady in a wheelchair, and somehow something something looked familiar about her, but I wasn't quite sure what it was. So afterwards, she came up to me and said, "I want to interview you for my thesis." And then we exchanged some WhatsApps, and then I actually found out who she was. So I used that as an opportunity to, to do like a trade. That okay, I'll interview. If I'm happy to be interviewed by you, but you have to come and talk to us about your story. So what I'm going to do, so the plan is basically I'm just going to ask her some questions, and she'll basically just talk and talk about her stories. It's going to be like a free-flowing thing. We thought that's probably better than a lecture. Lectures can be quite boring and monotonous, so we'll sort of try to make it. And then we'll have a break, and then after the break we can have some questions from the audience. There are, I think I will get them open. There are the toilets in there, Mufti. There's toilets in there that people could use in the break. Yeah. So we're through those double doors. So like I said, this is a school, so the size of the toilets might be a bit smaller to what you're used to, but there are toilets there, gents and ladies, through these double doors. Other than that, so let's start. So I first want to ask, so Dr. Anam, Najam, thank you so much for coming here. I want to start by, you are known now as you're much more famous in Pakistan than you are here and online. Maybe we're going to change that. So people know you as this lady who is a psychiatrist and who's in her wheelchair and has got an amazing story. Tell us a little bit about your life before who you are now. So a bit about your childhood, your family, where you are from, what your what your dreams and aspirations were as a young lady growing up, what you wanted to do, what you wanted to be, a little bit, as much as you want to share.
First of all, thank you so much, Babar, and thank you so much, everyone. It's indeed a privilege and honor for me to be here. And I'm really thankful to all of you. You took time out of your busy schedules and came here to listen to us and to support us. Coming to your question, I belong to Kashmir, Pakistan, and I was born there. I had my early education from Muzaffarabad. That's the capital of Azad Kashmir. And later on, I got admission in medical school. That's Ayub Medical College, Abbottabad. It was another city. And at that time, I was a very, you can say, energetic student, participating in all activities. I was very good in academics as well as co-curricular activities. And I was all over the stage and hosting shows and drama society, literary clubs, hiking club, all sort of activities. I was very energetic and enthusiastic. And I wanted to be a fighter pilot. I wanted to join Air Force at that time. So there is one plan that we make for ourselves, and then there is another plan that Allah makes for us. Mm-hmm. And definitely He's the best of the planners. So we were like I had two brothers, and our family was settled in Muzaffarabad. Before I became what I am today, I think I was a project under construction, and it's not a one-day story. It's not one moment that changes you. It's a whole series of events. It's every moment that's shaping you into what you get to be at the end of the day. And I think there are many things that happens to us and we question, why does this happen to me? And actually these things are leading us to that tomorrow. And the little things are actually preparing us. They nurture us, they cultivate those strengths inside us that we need to cope with our future. So life was good. I was 21 years of age when I had this accident that brought me to the wheelchair. We'll come and talk about it later. And what else do you want to know?
So you were a medical student.
Yeah.
So why medicine? I mean, was there doctors in your family? I mean, I know your mum is here. She's sitting here. She's being with you. Why medicine?
As I mentioned that I wanted to join Air Force and I wanted to be a fighter pilot. I never wanted to be a doctor actually, but in Pakistan, doctor studying medicine, it's thought as the most privileged field. And my family definitely wanted me to be a doctor. My uncle, my mother's brother. So he was very much into it and he was like, you have to be a doctor. You'll have to study medicine. So I thought, okay, let's do it if it's interesting. So, like we do in Pakistan, mm-hmm. We just obey, okay. If you are saying, okay, I'll study medicine then. So here I am today.
Well, it's not just Pakistan. I think there's a lot of people here that are also living dreams of their forefathers. But anyway, if you hadn't have gone to medical school, then you probably wouldn't be sitting here today. So okay, so let's come now onto the event that. So you said you've got two brothers, and you are which in the?
I'm middle one.
You're the middle one. Okay. So you're 21 years old. You're a medical student, and then something happened, which, like you're saying, the moment that changed your life and your family's life. So tell us a little bit about the day leading up to that incident. What happened and what was going on in your household, and what were your plans for the rest of that week? Or tell us a little bit about that.
Well, it was 15th March 2008, and I vividly remember that day. I don't think about that day every day, but I think about that day once a year. That's the same day. That's the anniversary of my accident or incident or whatever you can say, whatever you can call it. So it was a normal day. I went to college. I had my classes, and actually that day I was supposed to go to a hiking trip with my friends, with the hiking club of my college. But somehow I cancelled my plan, and I rather decided to join my family to attend a wedding ceremony of a family member. So my parents came to Abbottabad. They picked me from there, and we went to Rawalpindi. That's another city. And there was the wedding. And after that, when we got free from there, it was around 12 in the night. It was late night, and we always used to travel in night, and we always used to love it. I still love it. I still love traveling at night. So when we left Rawalpindi and started our journey to Muzaffarabad, it was late night, like after 12, roads were deserted, and there was a hilly area, and there was no traffic on the roads. So there were some robbers who were there on the road, and they tried to stop our car.
If I can just stop you for a minute. So who is in the car and what type of car is it? And tell us a little bit about the road and you said it's a hilly area, so I mean, it's not a highway, it's just like a mountain lane with like one single lane coming, single lane going.
Yeah.
So what type of car is it and who's in the car?
Well, my father was driving, my uncle was sitting next to him, and in the hind seat it was my mother and me. I was sleepy because I had a long day. I first went to college, and then I traveled, and then attended the wedding. So I was really tired and exhausted. So I was sleeping in my mother's lap. I was resting my head on my mother's arm in the back seat. And
what type of car was it?
It was a small car. It was Alto. It was a small car. Yeah.
Suzuki, is it?
Yes,
Suzuki Alto.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was a hilly road, and it was a narrow road. And those robbers, they had parked their car in the middle of the road.
Like a roadblock?
Yeah, right, like a roadblock. And they were pretending as if their car has broke, and they're like asking us for help or something. So when my father thought, initially he thought that they're asking us for help. And he decided to stop out the car. But then he realized that two people suddenly emerged from the sides of the road, and they had pistols in their hand, and they pointed them towards us and asked him to stop the car. So my father pushed the accelerator, and he decided not to stop the car because, of course, my mother and I were also sitting there, and you never know the intention of the other person. So we rushed, and when we escaped that place, that road blockage, they shot at us. They probably shot they were maybe trying to shot at the driver, who was my father, or maybe they were trying to shot at the car wheels just to stop us. But somehow that bullet entered from the back glass of the car. It passed through the seat. It passed through my mother's arm, and it entered my neck. And I was asleep.
So if I can just stop you there. So you're traveling in this car, small car, through the mountains. Dad is in the front. Who's next to Dad?
My uncle.
Uncle is next to Dad, and you and Mum are at the back, and you're asleep in your mum's arm. So presumably maybe her arm's like that, and then your head is here, and you're asleep. So presumably you must hear some sort of shouting or something, and you just about opened your eyes, and then I mean, the gunshots. Did that wake you up, or did the shouting wake you up? What?
It was everything muddled up. because I was not able to make sense what was going on. My mother was reciting verses and she was telling me to sit up straight, and she was telling me that her arm was bleeding, and I was not able to make sense what was happening because my father was like rushing the car. We were driving in speed because we were afraid that they might be following us. So I woke up and I was like, what happened? And my mother said, just recite kalma, recite verses. And I was like, maybe the brakes of the car have failed. But I was feeling something behind my neck and I was unable to, I mean, I was mentally in a shock. And so I could not make sense that what exactly had happened. And my mother told me there were some robbers and they had shot at us. And I said, okay. And I was like reciting verses, and we were afraid they might be following us and stuff. So when we went forward, my mother told me that her arm was bleeding. And she said, told my father to stop the car and get some medical aid, first aid. And we stopped the car. It was like around 1:30, I think. Yeah, 1:30 in the morning. And at that time, I told my mother, I'm getting some strange, weird sensations behind my neck. I don't know what it is. And my mother said, maybe the glass that is broken, maybe it hit you or something. We didn't know up till then that the bullet entered my neck. Okay, so I mean, when you are in shock, your mind goes into shock. You become numb, and you cannot sense the pain, or you cannot comprehend the thing. So
Where did you stop?
yeah, it was after 30 minutes of that incident.
Where? What sort of, was it a city?
No.
Was it a city that you stopped in, or just on the side of the road?
There was no city on our way. It was all hilly road from Rawalpindi to Muzaffarabad. And it was just, there were some shops. They were closed, but someone told us that there is a medical aid center. You can wake up the dispenser and he will help you. Mm-hmm. So we just woke him up, knocked at the pharmacy door and woke him up, and he provided some first aid to my mother. He did bandage to her arm and told that bullet has passed through it and it's not inside. And my father came to me, and I was sitting in the car, and my father said, come out and let him have a look on your neck, behind your neck, what's happened. And at that moment, when I tried to open the door of the car, I told my father, I cannot move my arm. I cannot open the door. And he was like, try to open it. I said, no, I cannot move my arm. And he was like, oh, you are frightened or something. Okay, you are terrified. Okay. He opened the door and told me, okay, come out. And I was like, I cannot move my legs. And he still thought, even I thought that I'm terrified. And that's why I'm unable to move or something. He said, okay. He lifted me in his arms and took me inside that medical center. And that person had a look, and he told me that there is a hole in your neck and bullet is inside your neck. There is no exit wound. There is only one entry wound. So the bullet is still stuck in your spine. It's a spinal cord injury. So you have to get to hospital as soon as possible, and it's really something serious. They might need to operate on you. And we were like shocked. All movements, at that time I realized, spinal cord injury, so the movements are gone. I could not sense my body. I could not move my body. And yes.
So you're obviously a third year medical student.
Year.
So you know what spinal injury means. You don't need really anyone to tell you. So at that moment, all these thoughts must be going around in your mind, consequences, or I mean, what's going through your mind as soon as that medical dispenser said to you that there's a bullet lodged in your neck? Or was it still a haze?
I was still in haze, because God has created human mind in a special way that whenever you face a trauma, or your mind gets in a shock, and it becomes numb. It denies the facts. It's a basic human survival instinct that you go into denial. Whenever you grieve, you go into denial. No, this cannot happen to me. So my mind was in denial. I was not able to acknowledge the reality. I knew it was spinal cord injury, but I was not able to think about its consequences. And I was just in that moment. Okay, there is some injury. Doctors will treat me. I'll be all right. I was not able to think beyond that. My mind was protecting me from maybe the suffering or that horror that was ahead of me.
Okay, so briefly talk us through now the next 24 hours. So presumably you got to a hospital in the nearest big city. What's happened in the next 24 hours? Because at that point, it probably something begins to, the adrenaline calms down and you begin to realize the seriousness of what's actually happening. Talk to us a little bit about that.
They brought me to Muzaffarabad, and we were told that there are no neurosurgical facilities in our city. So I was referred to another city. I had to move back to Rawalpindi. So it took me like another 6 or 7 hours, and then I had my surgery because the bullet was stuck inside my spinal canal. And the doctors operated upon me, and they removed the bullet, evacuated the bullet from the spinal canal. And but somehow I was not that disturbed. I mean, I was holding myself together. My family was really, they were like devastated. My parents, I still remember the look on their faces. They were really devastated because I was holding myself together. I was like, okay, so what? I mean, life moves on. So what? I will also tell you how did I get to gain that strength at that time. As I said before, that life prepares us for the things that we are going to face in future. So there was another incident in my past that was more traumatic than this one. So I think somehow that experience had prepared me for this loss. I mean, once you fall down, you get up. You fall down the second time, you get up quickly. You get up quicker than before. And yeah.
Are you able to share that incident with us briefly?
Well, it was 2005, and a very devastating earthquake hit Kashmir.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and we were living there. Our house just became a rubble. It was all wreckage. I was inside the house, and I still remember when the earthquake came, and I was in my bed. I started running towards it so I can get out of the building, but I could not, and the house just fell down. It got demolished. And I was in the rubble, and I had these injuries on my head, and I crawled through that rubble and came out. And those nights we had no roof over our head. We had nothing to eat. We didn't know that we will be able to escape that city alive, because roads were closed, there was landsliding, there were aftershocks, and I mean that was terrible. That was something that's I mean, there's something that you cannot even imagine. So I think that experience had somehow awakened the strength inside me. That has strengthened my faith in God, the faith in my fate, the faith in the fact that what is supposed to happen, it will happen anyway.
So is it fair to say then that what happened to you with the earthquake and to you and your family in 2005, looking back, that maybe that was Allah's way of like preparing you and your family to and when at that moment you're in that hospital and you've just heard this news, you've just had this surgery, you're thinking, well, we had the earthquake, which a lot of people didn't survive, and me and my family, we all survived that, so we will also survive this? Or is it a bit too soon? I mean, is that one of the thoughts, or maybe at a subconscious level that could have been somewhere there?
Um, well, I think at that time I had this thing in mind. I survived that incident, and now I have survived this incident. And then I have this another thought in my mind that Allah does not create useless things. I'm alive, there is a meaning to it. I don't know it, maybe I don't know it right now, what's the meaning, but in the future I would get to know what's the meaning behind this. Because if you do not find a meaning in your suffering, it gets destructive. Meaninglessness is the real destruction. It's the end of the life. But you have to continuously find the meaning in your suffering. And then there was a time when I was in the hospital and I had to make certain decisions about my life. I mean, I was in pain. It was excruciating pain because those nerves that were injured, they were like that pain. I mean, I cannot imagine anything worse than that. I used to feel like burning in my hands and arms, and my parents would sit by my side all night, blowing just to calm down the pain, the burning sensations. And I mean, it was a very hard time for my family, and I had that intense pain that I could use an excuse to quit the fight, to stop my journey. It was a very genuine excuse. I could say, okay, I'm paralyzed. I cannot move my legs. I cannot, at that time, I was not able to even raise my arms. I could not use my hands. I could not lift my neck. I mean, I was like just lying in the bed and just looking at the roof. And all I could do was to talk and nothing else. I could not move anything.
Share with us some things maybe your parents or your family said to you in those first few days, and things that you said to them, perhaps to encourage them or to give them strength. Or tell us a little bit about some of these conversations.
Actually, my family was not discussing it openly with me. The prognosis of or the gravity of the situation. They were just telling me, "You will get all right. Everything will be fine soon." And one day I remember my aunt who was sitting with me, and I asked her, "When will I get to be on my legs again?" And she said, "They say it will take around 6 months for you to be back on your legs." And I was like, 6 months? What do you mean? You know what type of person I am. I cannot sit idle, or I cannot just spend my days in the bed. I cannot even spend like 6 days. And you are telling me it will take 6 months? No, I cannot. I cannot bear it. But somehow, at times we do not know how strong we are until and unless being strong is the only choice that we have. It's not the thing that I was strong. It was the reality that was strong. It was the reason that was strong. The reason I had to move on. Those reasons were strong. I mean, I could use those reasons, that paralysis, that pain, that suffering, I could use that as an excuse to stop my journey. And at the same time, I could use the same reasons as a reason why should I move on.
Okay. So talk to us a little bit about what happened in the first month, and at what point at some point it must have hit you that what is actually going on here. So talk to us a little bit about that first month, and talk to us about the point where you actually realized, when the penny dropped, as they say.
While I was in the hospital, I had visitors, I had friends, I had family all the time busy. And I was so busy and the pain was so intense that all my attention was diverted or was focused on my pain. All I could think was how to get rid of this pain. I was not able to think of the paralysis. It was a blessing in disguise because it was keeping my mind busy. I was fighting with the pain. Okay, now I will get this pain relief. Now pain is getting intense. Now I'm reciting verses to help me ease the pain. these sort of things, And the thing that really, when the time when it really struck me that what has happened, it was the time when I came back home, when I was discharged from hospital, I came back home. And up till then, my mind was telling me, okay, everything will be all right, you'll be all fine. I'll go back to my college, resume my studies. Everything will be normal in a few days.
So how long were you in the hospital for before you came home?
It was about 6 weeks.
Okay.
And when I came back, and at that time, I realized what has happened to me. When I was back in my room, living with the same family members, and then I was comparing this life with the one that I had lost. At that time, I was realizing with every passing day, I have lost this thing. I have lost this ability. I cannot do this anymore. I was 21 years of age, and all the dreams, all the aspirations that I have had for my life, they were all gone. They were all blown away. And I was blank. And then when people started telling me that it will not be possible for you to resume your studies because you were studying in some other city and now you're in such a bad condition, you cannot go there and you cannot study, and you'll maybe have to stop your studies or something. And that was the time when my mental health started deteriorating, because it was the time when, for me, my life was losing its meaning. My suffering was getting meaningless for me. When I had this thing, okay, now I won't be able to resume my studies. It was the time I literally went into depression. I started losing my appetite. I was not eating anything. My parents were like, hardly they would be able to feed me with anything during the whole day. And I was not feeling like talking to anyone. I was angry on anything, and any living or non-living thing. I was angry. I was full of anger. And I was getting paranoid. I was like blaming everyone and everything for what has happened to me. I was literally losing that desire to live. I was sleepless. I was not able to sleep. I was like, they were giving me medicines to get me sleep, but I was not able to sleep. I would stay awake for like 36 hours, 24 hours in a row, and I was lost. At that time, I consulted a mental health professional. I sought some help, psychological help. I was, because I was in clinical depression at that time. It was really the worst thing.
So let me just stop you there. So is it fair to say, so if we just rewind a little bit so you're in the hospital, nurses there, family coming, people coming, going. So in some way, is it fair to say that sort of kept you occupied from the reality of what you were going through? But now that storm is over and you're back now where it all began, in your bedroom, and that's where it hits you that this is what's happened. You mentioned that you decided to seek help from a mental health professional. Was that something someone suggested to you? Was that, and you're saying that I had clinical depression. Did someone tell you, look, I think you need to get help? Or did you yourself know? How did that come about?
Well, the worst thing about depression is that when you are in clinical depression, you are hopeless up to the extent that you think that nothing can ever help you. You feel that you can never get out of it. That's why depression is called paralysis of will, paralysis of motivation. So I was not able to think of getting some mental health help from some mental health professional, some psychiatric help. It was my parents who decided for me when they sensed it that now I'm going off limits. Now it's getting worse. And then they were a family friend who was a psychiatrist, and he came over to visit us, and then he like started my therapy and my psychological support and medication, because I was my depression was so severe that I had to go into medication. So I started medication and all that. So after that, I started getting my energy back. My life was again coming back into senses, I could say. And
How long? I mean, so 6 weeks, you've come home. How long after that did you start the therapy? And how long into the therapy would you say that you started to get your life back?
I think it was within first couple of weeks after coming to home when I consulted a psychiatrist. And after that, it took me about a month or so, and I started feeling better. And I could feel it. I could feel the change, and I again started to dream. I was again setting my goals in life. And at that point, it was the easiest thing to do was to stay in that condition and to keep complaining for the rest of my life. But the timely treatment, the timely help, the support, the emotional support, or the psychological support, all those things brought me out of that victim mode, that I am a victim. No, I decided to fight for myself. I decided to commit instead of complaining. So that was the time, I think. And then I decided to resume my studies. I did not know how was I going to do it. It looked impossible.
Okay, before we come to your studies, let me just ask you, so those 6 weeks while you were in the hospital, and then those first couple of months, so the first 3 months since the incident happened, so it's fair to say that those were very difficult 3 months. Is there anything that, and I remember that there's a quote that I read that Ali, who is the cousin of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, that he said that everything starts small but grows big with time, except a calamity. A calamity starts big and then it gets small with time. Is there anything during those first 3 months, were there any dreams that you saw about your future that inspired you? Were there any miraculous events that took place? Was there any particular verse from the Quran or saying or quote or something that gave you strength at that moment when you needed it most? It could even have been something that someone said to you.
Yes, I would like to share a few things regarding this, because it was the belief that kept me going through that time. Nothing else could help me except the belief. Once I was in hospital and I was in very severe pain. And at that time I was feeling very broken, and I had a lot of questions in my mind, and I was questioning my existence. I was questioning God. I was questioning a lot of things. And at that time I was half asleep, half awake sort of condition. And I felt as if, there was some, you can say that it was a voice or something, but I had this feeling that it's divine, okay? And it's saying that to the angels, that put my nur in her, put my light in her. Okay? I was half asleep at that time, and I suddenly woke up, and I was at peace. I was so calm, and I knew what was that, what I had experienced. It was worth it. All the suffering, all the pain, it was worth it. The peace that I felt at that moment, it made me realize that this suffering, this pain has a meaning. This is leading me somewhere. This is not going to wane. This is not something useless. And then there is a verse from Quran that really helped me, that kept boosting my morale for me. It was, its translation is something like that. Um, and the man will get what he will strive for.
وَلَيْسَ لِلْإِنسَانِ إِلَّا مَا
Yeah.
سَعَى. Man will have nothing except that
Except what he
strives
strives for. And this verse from Quran, it kept on hitting my mind all the time. And it was the key, because it's telling you that how can you get what you want to get? You have to strive for it. You have to struggle for it. You have to put your efforts into it. So I decided to push my body and my mind past that point of limits. I decided that I will do whatever I can up to my last drop of blood. I will put all my efforts, but I will move on. I will move forward.
That verse in the Quran, do you know which surah it's from?
No.
Surah Najam. So there's a chapter in the Quran called Surah Najam, and it's strange that so Najam means star. So it's strange that the verse that inspired you was from a chapter that is named after you. So you start taking therapy, and you said you got your life back. Now in this therapy, so you said obviously you were really bad, so the medication you had was just to sort of help you to function. But the medication will help you function. It's not going to give you your life back. So the therapy, how did the therapy help you get your life back? I mean, tell us a little bit about how did, I mean, because a lot of people, it doesn't, on the one hand, you've got paralysis of will.
Yeah.
And someone comes and they talk to you or they talk with you for about an hour a week. And within a month, you suddenly become a new person. How did that happen?
Well, I would like to tell you something about the mental health and related therapies. We all have problems in our lives. Some struggles are visible, some struggles are not visible. It's possible that many of you are struggling with something that's far more worse than the things that I'm struggling with, but that's not visible to us. And at times we are suffering and we do not know the reason. I mean, we feel low all the time. We don't have energy. We do not feel that spark in us. We feel gloomy. We have poor sleep. And but when we think about our life, we don't have a reason that why we are feeling this way. I mean, person thinks, okay, I'm blessed with everything in life. I have my family, I have my job, I have my career, but I'm still feeling this way. And I cannot tell anyone, I cannot share it with anyone. Because if I tell someone, others will say, you have everything in your life, then why are you ungrateful for? Why are you ungrateful? The thing with the loss and grief is that whenever you go through grief process, whenever you lose something big and you grieve for it, there are 5 stages of grief. Shock, denial, okay? Then comes bargaining, and then depression, and then acceptance. So depression is a normal phenomena that you go through when you are grieving or when you lose something. But if it stays for more than 4 weeks or 6 weeks, all the time, most of the days, most of the time, and you have your sleep and appetite disturbed, and you don't have energy for this long duration, it means it's not a normal depressed mood, it is clinical depression. So you need help for that. Because I was getting stuck into that phase of depression. I was not coming out of it. The intensity or the severity of that depression was much worse. So I needed help because it was taking a toll on my life. It was taking a toll on my energies and my aspirations. So I needed help. At that time, I needed psychological support. It's not a sign. Depression, anxiety, or having a mental health condition is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of strength that you have this issue, but still you are moving on. Still you are moving forward. There are many things in our lives that we cannot discuss with our family or even our friends. So it's always good to go to a therapist and talk about it.
Okay, so you made the decision to continue your studies, and there's a lot of challenges that you faced in order to do that. I mean, Pakistan, like disability in Pakistan, it's way behind what it is in like Europe or America. What sort of challenges did you face, and was there any point that when you faced so many challenges where you just thought that, you know, this is just too hard and maybe I should just go and do something else?
Here I would like to share another interesting incident with you guys. It was a few months after my accident, and those days I was taking treatment for depression. I was feeling much better than before, and I was planning about my future, and there was discussions at home. How am I going to resume my studies? When will I go to college? How are we going to manage the things and these sort of things? A family moved to our neighborhood, and that couple visited us. And that man, he told, when he came to visit us, and he told me that he was a palmist. He said, I will read your lines for you, and I will tell you how long will it take for you to get back to your life. And I said, okay. He read my lines, and he told me a lot of things. And I just, he asked me if I wanted to know something, if I want to know, ask some specific questions. So I asked him, when will I resume my studies? Just tell me that. I'm only interested in this thing. And because it will give meaning to my life, it was supposed to give meaning to my life. So he said, he read my lines and he said, in next 2 or 3 years, there is no chance, maybe after that. And he went, okay. And when they left, I was blown away. I mean, I could not waste 2 or 3 years of my life just lying on the bed just because someone shot at my neck, and I don't know where he is right now. He's enjoying his life, and I just wait here lying in my bed and getting help from everyone, and for 2 or 3 years. No, I mean, that day I was like, I was on the verge of a breakdown. I sent an email to my college authorities and administration asking them that I want to join back. Tell me, when can I join? And everything, like I was just praying, and I was praying to God to help me and show me, make some path for me. And trust me, it's the courage on the path itself that makes the path appear. Sometimes you cannot find a way out. You do not know how I'm going to do this thing. But it's just your leap of faith. At times you are supposed to take that leap of faith. That will help.
And so you're so desperate that you're even prepared to go to a fortune teller and actually believe what he told you. Like you think, okay, well, 2-3 years, but then in a strange way, that became like a motivation for you at that lowest point. That became a motivation for you that I'm not going to wait 2 or 3 years. I'm going to, I'm going to get on it and do something. Now, so you managed to continue your studies. Tell us a little bit about, I saw in one of the videos something about writing and how you write, and tell us a little bit about that, how that came about, and whose idea that was, or tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I'll come to it later, but first I will complete the thing that I was talking about. Yeah. Well, the thing that you said, that I could use that fortune telling as an excuse that, okay, 2-3 years break, it's written in my lines, nothing can happen now. Okay, so I'm going to take rest for 2-3 years. But I took it the other way. I said, 2, 3 years, no way. I won't let it happen. This is not how my story will be written. So I prayed to God that day. And I remember I asked God, I asked Allah, you have written my fate for me. You have decided my destiny. So if you have written it for me, you will have to rewrite it for me then. I'm asking you. I'm praying to you. I'm like if a child insists to his parents for something that I need this toy, and you cry and you cry and you cry, and parents decide, okay, just give it to him. He said, I'm like your child. I mean, Allah says that He loves us. Like His love for us is more than the love of 70 mothers. So if it is so, I'm here. I'm asking you. You have to help me. And I asked Allah that you have to help me and you have to rewrite my destiny for me, if it's written already there. So the thing moved on, and then I saw another dream. The day it was the night before I went back to my college to join my studies, and we were all very worried. We are going in this condition, and I don't know. We didn't know what will happen. How we were going to manage those things. And that night, the next morning, I had to travel. That night, I was asleep, and I saw Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, in my dream, and I saw him in my hostel of that college. Okay, I saw him there. And my dream, I'm like very terrified, and I'm very worried, and I just fall down in his feet, and I'm weeping and I'm crying, and so this was the dream. And when I woke up, and I was like, okay, so God has listened to my prayers that I was asking Him for the last few days. So I had this faith in my heart that okay, everything is being taken care of. So no worries, I will get through it.
So at those, one of the lowest points, and you described before how you heard that voice where, like an angel or someone is saying to the angels to put my light into her. So these things, these moments, they happen at your lowest points, and they gave you strength, because tangibly what was around you, it obviously wasn't enough. People must have been there saying comforting things for you, but sometimes you need something more, which is on a different level.
Yeah.
And then when you had these moments, or this dream you had, for example, then that helped to pick you up.
Yeah, exactly. Because people would come to you and they would say comforting things, but back in your mind you have this thought that they don't know about the thing that I'm going through. They don't know the extent of the pain or the suffering that I'm going through, that I'm experiencing. But when it comes to the spiritual experience, or your belief system, or your when you talks about God, you have this thing in your mind, it's in your belief that He knows everything that I'm going through. And He has the power to change the things for me. So He will change it for me if I ask for Him. So I went back to college, and I was not able to sit this straight at that time. I was almost lying in the seat with the seat reclined, and at 45 degrees or maybe below that. And I was not able to raise my arms like this. And my pain in my hands, the burning was so severe that while in the classrooms, I would have these cold packs on which I would rest my hands to relieve that burning. I would have repeated infections. I used to have fever every other day. But I was there in my class. And even my teachers were telling my friends that she's doing something that's not rational, or that's not very wise. Why don't you tell her to go back and have her rehabilitation, and tell her what she's doing to herself? But I had these two things in my mind, that if Allah says in Quran that if I strive for it, I will get it. And the other thing, that I have these dreams, so it means that I will go through it, no matter how difficult things get, no matter how hard it is. But at the end of the day, I will reach my destination. I'm okay. I'm okay. Sure.
Okay, what we're going to do now, there's a lot we've gone through. We're just going to take a short break for about 10 minutes, and then we'll continue. There's a few more things that I want to ask her, then hopefully, inshallah, after we'll have some time for some questions. So there are toilets through these double grey doors here, and I think there's also, I mean, people that are familiar with this mosque, I think there's some also toilets for the men's on the other side. So we'll just resume in about 10 minutes then. Okay, so thank you, Dr. Anam. Thank you, everyone, for we received a lot of good comments from those people that are watching online as well. And it's good that we are able to do it, because there's a lot of people with their children, young children, who aren't able to come, but they're able to watch from the comfort of their own homes. So what we're going to do, we're going to we've got through the main thing that we wanted to get through. We're going to fast forward a little bit, and then we'll leave some time for, I'm sure, a lot of people here, I'm sure, the audience, you have a lot of questions to ask. So you continued your study, obviously, you became a doctor, you specialize in psychiatry, you are now a consultant psychiatrist, you work full-time, and in your spare time, you go, and I mean, there's lots of stuff on YouTube about you. I think there's even, you started to do poetry. I found that recently. So people that understand Urdu, you will find some Urdu poetry there as well. Looking back, let me ask you a couple of questions, like, you are where you are now. The people, what sort of thoughts or feelings do you have now, looking back at the people who did this to you? So earthquake was what you might call an act of God. But what happened to you was not an act of God. It was someone fired that bullet. Someone made it happen. So what are your thoughts towards the people who did this to you?
Well, at this point in my life, when I look back, I don't have any harsh feelings for them. I feel that they are the ones who need help. I mean, I always wanted, now I want to really find them, meet them, and talk to them, and tell them the consequences of their act that was maybe nothing for them. I have no harsh feelings. I don't want them to have some sort of punishment, or people often curse them. I don't want to curse them. But I really want to know how they are doing, what was their life about, what made them do such thing, and they might not be knowing that what they have done to me. I just want them to know this. And that's all. That's all I want to do.
I mean, you're a quite famous figure in Pakistan now. You've been on TV, you've been in the newspapers, so it's possible they do already know, but they don't have the courage to actually make contact. I mean, that might happen. One day could be now, in 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, someone might come and say, that was me who did that. Looking back at your experience, I mean, we'll come on to the lessons in a minute, but at this moment in your life, what are your dreams and aspirations for the future?
Well, life manifests itself slowly. When I came here to London, I just came here to study war and psychiatry because I won a scholarship for this. But now when I'm in course, I have found some new meaning in my life. Now I am a bit focused to work for the mental health that's being affected related to this terrorism and these activities. I want to work for those who are direct effectees of terrorist activities, or the ones who are accused of being terrorists and tortured or victims of torture, or I want to work for those who are victims of the war on terror. I also want to work on the rehabilitation of terrorists. So this is what I have new aims in my life. This is the new meaning that I want to give to my life. This is what I'm now aspired to. So let's see.
Okay. Your family, in some ways, they're like the hidden sufferers of whatever you went through. for a lot of the time, as you said, that when you were there in the hospital, they tried to hide from you what the doctors are actually saying and the prognosis, and they were doing that to protect you, in a way, to protect you or to shield you. I mean, this, what you went through, what you've been through, tell us a little bit, if you want to share the sort of impact that it has, or how it has changed you as a family unit, how it has first of all changed you as a person, what you've been through from your past life and your present life, and how has it changed your family dynamics?
Definitely it has brought a lot of changes in my own self and in my relationship with my family, and in the personalities of my family members as well, because they have also gone through this trauma along with me. So they are also the sufferers. And as a family unit, I think we have become closer than ever. I was not that close to my parents earlier, before my accident, but now we are really very close, and their lives, I'm the focus of their lives. Their lives revolve around me, and I'm like that infant at home who's being taken care of the parents all the time, around the clock. And but that's another story, that this infant is never going to grow up. So it's their duty all the time. And
Wait, before they continue, so do you still get told off? Mum sitting here, do you still get told off, or is it like you could do anything and they won't tell you off?
well, I am misusing and abusing their love as well.
Okay.
So I just make plan and announce that I'm going to do this, and they willingly or unwillingly follow me blindly.
Okay.
So this is the sort of things, they have spoiled me. Now they have to bear it.
Okay.
So this is what's going on. And for my personal capacity, I think there are two things. One is resilience and one is post-traumatic growth. Resilience is that it's the thing that you go through something bad, you experience a trauma, and you get back the level of functioning that you have had before that incident or before experiencing that trauma. This is resilience, that you get back to the normal functioning after enduring a suffering. And then there is post-traumatic growth. This is basically a step higher than resilience. It is to achieve the level of functioning that is higher than the level of functioning that you had before that trauma. It's finding a deeper meaning in life, a deeper meaning in the interpersonal relationships, or your relationship with your own self, or your relationship to the world. It's, all about finding meaning in your suffering. It has a lot of dimensions, that has spiritual dimensions. You get a lot of spiritual enlightenment through it, and your life is much more meaningful for you. You have a different vision. You look at the things with a different eye now. You are no more the same person. Trauma changes you. Trauma transforms you. It grows you. It nurtures you. So this is what has happened with me. Somehow, somewhere, I have that girl inside me that was 21 years of age at that time. But although this road was hard, but it was worth it. I really feel grateful to be at the place where I am today. I don't want to lose this awareness, this vision at any cost, by all means.
So is it fair to say that your life today, looking back, is richer today than it was, or perhaps would have been, had you just continued and you would have led a normal life and completed your studies? Is it fair to say that?
Very right. Precisely, this is the thing. But it's worth it, and it's way better than that life that I would have had in that case.
I mean, something you mentioned, which was, you said some of the for want of a better word, some of the benefits that came out of what you went through, looking back. Your family dynamics have changed. You're closer to your family now. Things that perhaps you would take interest before, you don't take interest in those things, but you take interest in other things. There's more meaning. You talk a lot about meaning. And if I may just add, there is an incredible book, which I actually read. And this event's not about me, so I'm just going to hijack these 10 seconds. There's a book by the name of Man's Search for Meaning, written by Dr. Viktor Frankl, who was an Austrian psychiatrist who spent a few years in a Jewish concentration camp. I think out of 500 books that I read in prison, this is probably definitely in the top 3. And it talks about this. It's about one of the ways to find meaning to your life is to find meaning through your suffering. And one of the things as a Muslim that resonated in that book with me is how he's a believer in God, and he reconciles his belief in God with whatever he went through. Before we take some questions, I just want to ask you, everything you've been through, and obviously we weren't expecting to go through everything. We could be talking here for all day and all night. 3 lessons for people, and there's, as you said, there is everyone here who, all of us are going through struggles, personal struggles, challenges, and they may not be public like my struggle or your struggle, but everyone here in their own way, they are going through struggles, challenges, family problems, health problems, domestic issues, marital disputes, problems with children, financial problems. So in a way, even though you came here to talk about your story, but your story in some way is actually the story of all of us. So what would you say are three lessons or 3 takeaway points that if you could look back, what are, say, 3 lessons that you would say to anyone who is going through any type of suffering or difficulty, watching online or sitting here in this hall?
Well, first I would like to say that I'm here not because I have some superpowers. Okay, I'm not a superwoman, or I'm not someone perfect. We are all struggling in our own ways, and we all have our own pains, our own struggles, and some are visible, some are not. We are all in the process, and we are here today because my struggles or your struggles are visible to people. Not completely, but many of our struggles are visible to people, so they can easily relate to us. This is why we are here, so the people can relate to our experiences and look within themselves and find meaning for their own sufferings. So first I would like to say, whatever your struggle is, whatever hardship you are going through, just keep this thing in mind, that you are powerful than that. You are powerful than your pain. The power lies within you. It lies within your heart, within your spirit. You just have to dig for it. You have to dig deep to find it. And if you think you have not found it, you have to dig deeper. The treasure is there. It lies inside you. There is no hidden recipe. There is no magic potion. It's you. It's your faith. And you have to dig deeper for it. And life goes on. No matter what happens, you lose a loved one, you have a divorce, your child dies, whatever happens in your life, whatever happens, life goes on. It stops at the moment when you decided to stop. When you give up, the life ends for you. But until and unless you do not give up and you keep on fighting, life will bring gifts for you. Many times life comes down to our decisions. We change a decision, we change our life. We make a decision, we make our life. We cannot change the events that happen to us. We cannot somehow modify whatever is going to happen to us. It will happen anyway. But what we have in our hand is to decide how to respond. This is something that makes us superior to other animals. The ability to think and respond. Our response is in our hands and we are responsible for that. We have to fight our battles. Do not go into victim mode. Do not think that someone has done bad for me. Now I'm a victim. Now I cannot do anything. Now I'm helpless. You have this spiritual power inside you. Stay connected to your faith and do the most you can do.
So if I understood that, paraphrasing, and from what we have discussed in the first half, is to have hope that things will become better, to be resilient, and you've mentioned something that you're stronger than you think you are, and it's like what happened with your earthquake, everything that happened before your life at that point. And sometimes, we don't realize that we can actually take a lot and we can survive, but as long as the power comes from within you. But there's things that you also have to do. Like in your case, you did things. You didn't just sit there and pray.
Yeah.
You did pray, but you didn't just pray. You got help. You got therapy. You went to the medical school. You asked them to make arrangements for you. You did something to survive. People think that survival is you're just going to sit and wait for a miracle coming from the sky, but you have to do something about it. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we want to take some questions. I'm sure you've got plenty of questions for Dr. Anam here. Unfortunately, we don't have a floating mic, and we do have people online that are watching this event on a live stream as well. So if I could just request, and I'm sure there's many things that you wish to say to Dr. Anam, you will have an opportunity, to come afterwards and you can say that to her. But so if I could just request that the question that you have to ask, you can just stand up and just ask the question as, shall we say, distinctly, as in a short way. Just ask the direct question, and if anything else that you want to say, you will have the opportunity to say that afterwards. Free flow, just stand up, just put your hand up and then ask away. Who's going to be the first one? Okay, we have someone. So whatever you ask, I will just repeat it to the audience that's asking. So if you could just raise your voice.
So 4 weeks after your accident, you said that you were into depression. I wanted to ask you, if you didn't get the psychological support that your parents or your family kind of come to help you with, do you think that you would have taken that journey without that support?
Okay, so the question, if I understood correctly, is 4 weeks after you came, 4 weeks after you had
6 weeks.
6 weeks after the incident, you fell into clinical depression. You talk about the support that you had from your family and the support that you got, the therapy that you got. Had you not had that, do you think that your life would have got to where it got to? Is that correct?
No way. I don't think I would be here if I had not taken that therapy. Because I was in that dark cloud when I was in depression. I didn't have that energy, that will to do anything. I think most probably I would have spent all my life just lying in their bed and waiting for the day of my death or something, and all the time complaining about the things that had happened to me. I could never have done the things that I have done now. No way. Without treatment of that clinical depression, it was not possible, not at all.
Any other questions? It's your chance. We're quite lucky to have Dr. Anam here. It's not, she's studying for her master's here. She's very busy doing her thesis, so she was able to come and join us here today. But she's, this isn't This isn't what she's here to do. Yes.
Just to carry on from the medical, when you did have the therapy with the depression, what was the period of time that you had that? And what were the pointers in this? We're all probably familiar and have got somebody that we know that goes through that phase, or maybe we've been through it ourselves. What's the turning point? How do you know that it's going to be a month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 years, a year? What was your period of time? What was the triggers that made you realise that? Ultimately, you put yourself out of it with the aid of somebody else. But what can you do for somebody who doesn't pull themselves out of it?
So your question is, if I understood correctly, is how long did the therapy last?
And these are triggers that made the doctor realise himself, I've got to put myself out of this. Because it has to come from within.
So what were the triggers that led her to get therapy, or what were the triggers while she was getting the therapy? Okay. So how long did you take the therapy for, and what were the triggers in yourself? Because with therapy, you have to engage with it. You can't, it's like going to the hospital. You have to physically go. You can't be dragged there. So there has to be some willingness from your side to do that. So how long did the therapy last for, and what were the triggers that led you to feel that I need to get this therapy to fix this?
Well, usually for depression, the minimum time period required for the diagnosis of depression is 6 weeks. That if you have low mood, low energy, low activity for minimum 6 weeks, then you diagnose it as a case of depression. But in my case, because my symptoms were so severe and so intense that I was not eating anything. I mean, it was becoming dangerous for my life. So if your symptoms are severe, for example, you get suicidal, you have these thoughts of killing yourself or doing self-harm or killing someone else, or you just cannot sleep at all, or you just cannot eat or something, then you should seek help before completing that 6 weeks time. So it was, as I told, that when I stopped eating and stuff, and I was very angry all the time. At that time, my parents asked me to seek help. And for the therapy thing, I was not in a condition to go to the hospital because it was not easy for me at that time to go to hospital regularly to seek therapy. So it was some sort of, a setting where, as I mentioned before, that the psychiatrist was our family friend. So he used to come to my house. He used to visit me at my home, and we would have our sessions there. And when I joined my college, that was after 5 or 6 months after my accident, then I consulted another psychiatrist there in Ahmedabad because it was in another city. And then I continued having sessions there, and along with the medicines as well. Yeah.
For how long did that continue?
Well, the sessions actually continued for 9-10 months, but the medicines lasted longer than that. Yeah.
One thing I just want to add, and I think it might be a right time to say it. There is a problem in the Muslim community with people seeking help for mental health issues. Why? Because of this message that if you have depression, it's because your faith in God is weak. It's because your iman is low. So that's like saying to someone, you caused your depression. Because had you read more Quran, or had you had a strong relationship with Allah, then you would not have got depressed. But they are two different things. Because it's like saying to someone that, if you want to, you can get out of it just by clicking your fingers, but it's not that straightforward. So I, as someone who, and again, I'm not going to hijack the thing.
You can.
But I went through trauma, and the thing that made me understand, to seek help was when someone said to me that trauma is an injury. When you break your arm, you don't sit and pray to God. Just do that. You don't just read Quran over it. You go to the hospital, they put a plaster on it, you get surgery, and throughout that, you're praying to God to help you. So it's not an either or. And these are real things. And one of the things that stop people taking help is because they are afraid of this, oh, God is angry with me. No, it's a disease, it's a condition. Go and get help. And one thing that the Mufti, he asked me to point out, you see this poster thing behind me, and this mosque, they've done something pretty unique, which is they offer a counseling service through the mosque on an individual basis and on a group basis. I've got I think there's some leaflets here as well. You can take it back, or you can just take a photo of this. That is something that is available, that can be arranged. That is something that is a unique service that is provided by the mosque. And I say this, and I'm glad there's a lot of, a lot more women here, which normally happens in events like this, and not enough men. And I know that there's men that are looking on the live stream, and that they will be watching this. Men we have quite fragile egos. We've just have it all sorted. We don't like to take help. We don't like to admit that anything's wrong. We always have everything, everything is always okay. And then it just comes out when we least expect it. So, seeking help is a sign of strength. It's not a sign of weakness. It's a sign that you have the strength to know what is wrong in your life, and you're willing to take that step. And, the bravest and the smartest person is the one who gets help. You're a human being. If you get cut with a knife, it's going to bleed. If you go through a traumatic incident, an accident, someone dies, something happens in your life, it's going to affect you. Get help, and it doesn't take that long. In my case, I went through about 4 or 5 months. In your case, you're talking 9 or 10 months with what you went through. You're able to sit here in an audience and just talk about everything openly, and that is a sign of healing.
And I'm a mental health professional myself. So, and I'm here, and I admit this thing, that despite being a mental health professional, I have had this depression thing with me. So this is not something weak, or this doesn't make me a bad person or a weak person somehow. It's a sign of strength. That, okay, I had this burden on me as well, and I dragged it along with me. I came forward along with this burden. My baggage was heavier. It's a sign of strength. It's not a weakness. And another thing that Babar just mentioned, that it's a very common myth among, especially I've seen it in a Muslim community, that if someone has a mental health condition, we just take it as a weakness, and we feel embarrassed. And we don't talk about it, and we just tell the person to read Quran, or to strengthen its relationship with God. We do not acknowledge it as a disease. These are real diseases. There is scientific research, there is evidence that there is an imbalance of neurochemicals in your brain, in anxiety, in depression, and in other mental health conditions. So you have to manage them like you manage any other condition. If you get cancer, do not just sit there and recite Quran, or you just do not sit there and say that, okay, I'm something bad, I'm someone bad, must have done something wrong, that's why I got cancer or something. These are diseases. The same way that we have diseases of body, we have diseases of mind, and they need to be managed, they need to be treated. And once treated, you can get back on your the road of life, and you can do whatever you can. Just seek treatment, seek help. There's no harm in it.
Questions? More questions? Yes, Montana.
First of all, you're a force of nature, and I think you're amazing. And this might be a bit of a broader question, I'm curious. How did your experience impact your perception of death, and how you started perceiving death? Because in many ways you escaped it, and at the same time you pretty much overcame it, you overpowered death, and conquered it. But at the same time, you were brought to a stage where you were so close to it. And I'm just curious how your experience affected your perception of it.
So, how did your experience impact your perception of death? because many times you came close to death, but you sort of faced it, you came over it. That's correct?
Okay, so it's like a couple of times, especially once during the earthquake when I was just under the rubble of that house, and I was sure I'm going to die the next moment. And the other time when I had this accident and stuff. So my perception of death is now somehow that is less frightening for me, in the sense that I'm now sure that it will come when it has to come. I mean, if it is supposed to come now, I can do nothing to stop it. I can do nothing to escape from it. And if it's not coming right now, there is nothing to fear. I mean, nothing would harm me. So death is basically not that frightening thing for me anymore. It's like, and being a Muslim, like it's a part of our faith that it's a transition from this life to the other. And whatever we do in this life, we have to get the reward or the punishment for it in the next life. So the concept of death is now again more meaningful for me, as the concept of life is. So I think there is more meaning added to it.
Thank you. More questions? Something, Bilal?
When you came out of hospital, did you ever feel in your life that you were a big burden on your parents and your depression? Did your parents notice that in you, or did you notice that you had depression in you?
So the question is, when you were in hospital, and at what point did you realize, I mean, did you think about that when the gravity of your situation, you realized it, that you're going to be a burden on your parents? And the signs of your depression, is that something that your parents noticed in you, or is that something that you noticed in yourself?
Well, for the first part of the question, I still think about it every day, almost every day. Because this is not something that you think about it one day, you decide, okay, I'm going to be a burden, or I'm not going to be a burden, and then everything is fine. No. Because every night when I have to wake up my mother to change my side in bed, or every day when my father had to lift me and shift me from the car to the wheelchair, I could feel it. I still feel it. I mean, I think of it about almost every day. So yes, it is. It is like this. And this is what I was saying when I was referring myself as an infant. That the way you have to take care of an infant, you have to take care of all the needs. You have to change her, to feed her, and all the things you have to take care of. The same is the case with me. They have to take care of me like an infant. And the plus point of an infant is that she's going to like grow up one day. But in my case, she's not going to grow up. And this condition is lifelong. So this is the first part of the question. And for the second part, I was not in a mental state to acknowledge that I'm having some mental health issues. It was my parents, my family, my friends who noticed it, and who picked the things that, no, this is something is going wrong. It's not that Anam anymore. She needs help.
I think it's a good point that you mentioned. Is normally the person who has depression or who has some type of trauma, it's not them who realize it. It's someone close to them that tells them. I mean, you're also a psychiatrist. What are some of the signs in someone's behavior that this person has some trauma that is making them act the way that they are? And that trauma could be something from that happened last month, that happened last year, or it could be something that happened in their childhood, or even before their memories, like even maybe when they were 2 or 3 years old, something. But because we know that people carry trauma in their behavior. Someone could be 50 years old, but they're acting in a certain way because of something that happened before their memory. So what are some of these signs that we could look out for, maybe not in ourselves, but on the people that are close to us, to think that maybe there's something here that this person should seek help?
Well, trauma can make you predisposed to a lot of mental illnesses, and it can precipitate a lot of mental health conditions in you. And all those mental health conditions have different signs and symptoms. But for a few that I would like to mention, if you think that someone is having anger outbursts without a reason, without any good reason, he or she has sudden anger outbursts, or you think that his level of functioning is changing, like she's not taking that interest in her school or job, or there is some change in her or his behavior with family, friends, other relationships, changes in interpersonal relationships, and people are getting like more sad, prefer to stay alone, and these are not the integral part of their personalities. These changes are recent, after some incident or something. So you have to look for it, and you have to seek mental health help from some mental health professional. And especially the most alarming thing is if you find that someone is getting suicidal. He or she is talking about his plans of taking his life or her life, and or the anger is of this type that he wants to harm someone else, or someone is in so much guilt that he or she has developed really low self-esteem. That's also a sign of having some probable trauma in the past. And often when we have low self-esteem, we are more prone to getting into relationships that are abusive and unhealthy. And it's like a vicious cycle. We cannot detach ourselves from those relationships, and we keep on being abused, and our trauma, the experience of trauma, just piles up. So it's very fortunate for us that we have these counseling services available around us, and even NHS has this thing that you can just talk to your GP and they can refer you for the talking therapy initially, and initially you don't have to take medicines. So because people often are afraid of taking psychiatric medication, so you can go for talking therapy. I mean, if you are in a problem, or you see that your loved one is in a problem, there is no harm in seeking help. Everyone is vulnerable. If you are not vulnerable, it means you are not human. We are human beings. We are all weak. We are all vulnerable. So any one of us can get any mental health condition any time in our life, and there is always something that we can do to improve our condition. It can be seeking help from a therapist. It can be talking to a friend. It can be talking to a loved one. It can be anything. But do try to explore those resources that you have around you to make positive changes in your life.
So that's quite an interesting point you just mentioned there, that some people, maybe they're not comfortable, or they're not able to get therapy, or there's family circumstances as such. But even if you have a problem, even talking to a trusted family member or a friend, maybe some people don't have someone within their family that they can speak to. Maybe it's a friend, a trusted friend who can just listen. And that is also makes a difference, that you're doing something about it. A question that I had for you is, a lot of, in all communities it happens, that people have a lot of marital problems. And there are marriage counseling services available, but the challenge that women have is they want to go and do it, but the guy's not convinced, because, fragile male ego, everything's sorted, everything's okay, nothing to worry about. So they think, well, there's no point of me going by myself or getting some sort of help by myself, because he's not even willing to go and do it. So in a case like that, would you suggest to the partner that is willing to do it that they should just sit and not do it, or if they go themselves and get some sort of help, would that make a difference to their relationship? Or should it be that they should both go, or if not, there's no point?
Well, the ideal situation would be definitely that both partners go together, especially when it comes to marital counseling. But in such cases where one of the partners is not ready for that, is not willing to do that, again we come down to the thing that this is something we can, if we cannot make him change his mind, but there is something that we can do about it. It's that you go to the counselor, you tell him the situation. He might guide you how to convince him or her. There are many ways of convincing a person, or you can always go there and seek help. It might not be that effective as it would have been in case he is willing to go there and you both go and seek help, but still it would help you ease, it would still add a bit of comfort in your life. It will somehow guide you at least how to manage him and how to gradually convince him, or what to do at your part. So this is something that will be helpful.
Okay, I understand.
What advice would you give someone who's in a limited time and they might have proven why is it not doing this? What advice would you give them to remain positive and stay shy?
So, from a spiritual perspective, someone who's going through a difficult time, what would you say to that person? Like, they might question that, why is God doing this to me? What sort of things might what you say to that person?
You can tell them that life comes in contrasts. For example, there is no concept of white without a concept of black. There is no, you cannot understand or appreciate light if you do not know what is dark. Even if you think about this electric plug in a wall, it has two terminals, positive and negative. We have to have both sides, both opposites, to make the current flow. The usefulness of life or the appreciation of life comes through the contrasts. So this is what makes us more able to enjoy the joyful things and to appreciate the playful things in life. The more we suffer, the more we are able to appreciate our life. And if someone is going through that, you can always, if someone is not religious, he doesn't have religious beliefs, the scientific evidence shows that you are not supposed to go to him and tell him to come to the religion, because it will not affect on him. It's not ingrained in his belief system. You have to look for the belief system that person has in him. Whatever he believes in, you can incorporate that as a power of strength to him. So the one thing that you are not supposed to say to a person who is going through some hard time is just snap out of it. No, it's not like he's not sitting there willingly and you tell him that snap out of it and he'll just click the button and snap out of it. No, you can always offer them your support, that if they are willing to talk to you, you are available to them. Even just saying this simple thing, that if you are willing to talk, if you want to share something with me, I'm here to listen to you. I'm here with you. This is really very reassuring. At times, this is all what people want to listen to.
I just want to add to that, to what Dr. Anam said. Allah does say in the Quran that in the alternation of the night and the day, they are the signs for the people of understanding. And it's a good way, the way that you described it, that this is Allah's way of helping us to grow. Because you appreciate water most when you are thirsty. You appreciate warmth when you are cold. You appreciate light when there is darkness. So Allah, He puts us through these things, and all of us, we know, amongst our friends and family, we know people that have gone through extreme hardships and difficulties and calamities, and they are probably some of the most amazing people that we know. And what has made them into that is that thing that a lot of people talk about, their turning points in their lives, and they came about as a result of what they went through. More questions?
What would you advise most of them need help and wants therapy is to find out from the NHS and whether they want to use it.
So what would you say to someone who knows that they need help, and they try to get help, but they are denied that by the NHS? Okay, so Dr. Anam is from Pakistan, so I'm not sure she would know. So someone who can't get that help from, okay, I have something to say, but if you, I'm not sure what you could say about that.
Well, I think what I have in mind that you can go again to your GP and tell them that you have these problems. Yeah, and we might have to reconsider it. I mean, I don't know much about it.
I mean, in my case, when I came back from prison, I went to my GP, and I think NHS was going through a funding crisis at that time, which was like 2015. I didn't even get an acknowledgement letter to say that you're on some sort of waiting list. So again, I didn't sit around waiting for some miracle. So, you know, Hugs Charity, they stepped in at that point. You know, I was lucky that Hugs Charity, they and one thing interesting that they said to me, because Hugs is a charity that helps people that have been through, that families that are affected by the war on terror. And what they said to me was, we've got a budget for people to get, ex-prisoners, to get therapy, but it's untouched because no one wants to use it. Because they're either ashamed, or they're embarrassed, or they think it's unmanly, or whatever. So I said I would happily, you know, and they funded that, and I had a lot of therapy. Don't take no for an answer is what I would say, is that we pay a lot of taxes in this country, and a lot of that goes to the NHS. And sometimes you have to chase up with your GP, and they cannot refuse you help. You have to go there, and you have to keep making a fuss, and they will give it to you. Something I wanted to also add, something interesting that you mentioned. You mentioned a point about one of the signs of that someone needs help as anger outbursts. There is a difference between anger and rage. That anger is something which, you know, people have, and anger is something that can be controlled. But rage is something, like you said, an outburst. If someone is acting in a way, not all the time, but sometimes they'll be acting in something which is unlike the character of that person, you know, maybe throwing something, and after that they feel guilty and ashamed. That is a sign of rage. That is a sign of suppressed emotions that are somewhere deep, that are hidden inside. And as one thing that my therapist, the late Dr. Robbins, he used to say to me, that emotions have to be released before they can be healed. And I would just want to share an anecdote of what happened with that in my own circumstance. So I was subjected, about a mile from here, subjected to torture by the police, and they...
Could you just tell briefly about yourself, because maybe many live audience doesn't know.
So there are people here that, I think most people here, they know my background. So I spent 11 years in prison. 9 of those, I think, were without trial, and I was subject to torture and physical and sexual and religious abuse, which took place about a mile from here before that happened. But to cut a long story short, so one of them was steel handcuffs were rubbed along my arms. The officers rubbed these steel handcuffs along my arms, causing me excruciating pain, and I think they caused some nerve damage as well. So several years, so about, I think when I took therapy, it was about 13 years after the incident. 13 years after the incident, where I went and I'm getting this therapy. So one of these sessions, Dr. Robbins, he said to me, young men sitting at the back, do you see me? Yes? Hello? Please. Yeah. So during one of the sessions, he said to me, bring a recording device, and I want you to talk about the incident that happened to you. And shut your eyes and talk about it in real time as if it's happening to you. So I've already spoken about about that trauma many times. I've spoken about it on TV and I've given interviews about it. I was comfortable talking about it. So I close my eyes and I start talking to him about what happened to me, and they did this and they punched me and kicked me and strangled me and whatever. And after about 20 minutes, I open my eyes, and at that point, then my wrists, they began to hurt. My wrists began to hurt. After 13 years, they began to hurt. Because the brain had linked the memory of that physical pain. It was hidden somewhere in my brain. And when I spoke about it, and I got it out, it began to hurt for 3 days. So when there's a tumor in your body, if you leave it in your body, it can spread and it can harm you and it can kill you. But if you're going to take that tumor out, it's going to be painful because you have to cut through skin and flesh and bone. It is a painful process. You have to relive some painful memories, but then after that, it does heal. Any more questions? We're going to be wrapping up, so I'll just take 2 more questions. Yes.
Into the house. So I said to you, you know what I said to me now? And he said it's like good luck. And the important like to bring into the house. So the human was good luck, like that.
Okay, so
the logo is like about 640 pounds.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Reverend. One, and then we'll take one from the women.
Someone who found themselves in a training counsellor and looking at developing this field, what advice would you give to manage your own self-care and the challenges that you might face?
So, good question. Someone who is training to be a counsellor, what advice would you give to them to take care of themselves, self-care, before they help others?
One thing that you need to take along with you throughout your career is that you keep seeking help from another counselor. Keep seeking help from another counselor. You cannot apply your own professional knowledge to yourself, especially in this field. You are not supposed to do that. You are not supposed to apply your knowledge, knowledge of psychology to your loved ones, and not to your own self. You have to seek help, counseling, from another psychologist that will help you, in keeping on with the same energy. Otherwise, after a while, you'll just be finished.
You will burn out.
So,
Yes, brother.
Like 2 hours, about second about 50,000 pounds.
Something like that, yes. Yes.
Use one.
You're a psychiatrist, I just want to ask, why is such a stigma in, I don't know, Muslim or just Asian communities to talk about mental health problems, to talk about their families' mental health problems? Like you said, if you have a cut, you go get treatment. People do talk about physical ailments, but they can't talk about mental health problems. They suffer and they just worry about the stigma, so they're going to think about it. I mean, is there any awareness of mental health problems in Pakistan? Because obviously the same communities, when they're coming here, maybe things are getting better, but they don't want to talk about it.
So a very.
Can plus, thinking about 140 pounds, and just a long time as well. And the meat about 65 pounds precise, and truth about 1 pound, and after that, 250.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, brother. Very helpful. Thank you very much. Your question is why is there such a stigma around mental health, around psychiatry, around getting help? There's people who are able to talk about physical ailments, But when it comes to issues of family issues, trauma, depression, people are suffering in silence for years. They're unable to talk about it. There's a stigma. Why do you think that is?
Well, she particularly asked about Pakistani community. The stigma was present all over the world, but with the education of masses and with the health education and the spreading awareness, it's now, we can see that it's no more in Western society, sort of, but it's still present in Pakistan. And we are definitely working on that, but we don't have many mental health professionals over there as compared to, in contrast to our population, number of people that we have. And then we have these beliefs, and we have those places where there is no access to any sort of media like newspapers, or there are villages and there are very far off places where you cannot get there and spread awareness to those people. But still, things are getting better in bigger cities. People now go and seek medical help, psychological support in big cities, but it's now spreading to towns as well. We are working on that, but we have not yet achieved that level. Yeah.
And one of the things that we can do in order to, events like this is what we're doing, and more people that have been through therapy who are able to talk about it. I always refer to myself on social media as I am a proud user of therapy. So in case if there's any men out there that are not sure whether they should seek help or not, or sitting here, I'm happy to talk about my experiences. I'm a proud user of therapy. We'll take one more. Mayor Baji, I think a lady here had a question. Can we take yours, or shall we go on?
I just want to actually go back to the Sister Mayor, which she was asking such a question, what's happened to you, and how do you evaluate that? And I also read the book in my life. I can't remember who it was that said it to me, and the same question, why has this happened to me? And the person said to me, why not you? Why do we think that we're going to go through life without, we verbally say we're going to go through tests, trials, and tribulations, but when that actually happens, we start to question why it happened. So that we reverse it, and actually say to me, why not you? Why should it be somebody else, not you? So it goes back to this positive and negative that you're actually saying, where you contrast it. And then it does make you actually realize, well, it is what it is, it's just a test, it's a trial, things not going my way, but then you have to go to cope with it.
So a very good point to end on. So for the benefit on the people that are watching online, is the sister made a comment on that someone asked the question, why is this happening to me? Why is Allah doing this to me? And well, why not you? Because out of all the blessings that He's given you, there will be some periods of difficulty that enable you to grow. Do you want to say something?
Yeah. Someone once asked me the same question, that don't you ever think why God did this to you? Why don't you complain it from God? And I was 21 years of age when I had this accident, and I don't remember that during those 21 years I ever thanked God for the blessings that I had. So if I didn't thank for the blessings that I had, I have no right to complain that He took away those blessings, because I never thanked for them. And secondly, if I do not fight for the things that I want, I have no right to complain for the things that I have lost. And I would like to end this with, I don't know, many of you must have heard that serenity prayer. It's a very beautiful lines. It's by some American theologian, I think. It says, God grant me serenity to accept what I cannot change, the courage to change what I can, and the wisdom to know the difference.
Thank you. So before we end, I just wanted to thank Dr. Anam Najam and her mother who have come here and spoken to us, and I'm sure there's a lot of there's a lot of comments that people have sent. There's a lot of people in different countries that have been watching this event. It will be recorded, so you can, if you found it of benefit, you can do that. I just wanted to give a small gift to you. It's a gift of a special honey from the Latin honey shop. People say it's the best honey around. So I'm sure, and a lot of people say something, so it must be. So this is a little small gift that we wanted to give you.
Thank you.
For the benefit of everyone that came, for those people from within the local community, take one of these leaflets, take a photo of this, and Sahar Beg, who's a well-known psychotherapist in this community, who's been through a fair share of struggles in her own life. She's a trained psychotherapist, and this is something quite unique, where through the mosque they offer these services. You don't have to do it through this mosque. GPs, they will offer these services, but even, Mind Works, they can, if you're in an area which is far from this area, they can guide you what sort of things. Do you need CBT? Do you need psychotherapy? Do you need whatever it is? So do get help. Do get help. Do talk about these things. If you have a friend who is suffering or going through some difficulty, be a good listener to them. And if you yourself are going through something, then do find someone and do talk to them. If you don't want to get therapy yet, then talk to a family member, talk to a friend, but get these feelings and thoughts and emotions out. And that is the way that these things, they heal. So again, thank you very much for all of you, for everyone here who came. As you made it, you braved the weather to make it here. And I know there's a lot of students that came from King's College. So, thank you to all of you coming all the way down and supporting, these are your fellow students of Dr. Anam. A recording of this will be on the Babar Mosque YouTube channel. We'll share the link. And we hope that this has been of benefit, and we hope that that we wish you all of the best, and may Allah bless you. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.
Thank you.
I can just end it, isn't it?